Hey everybody, real quick, my name is Josh. Some of you have been subscribers to our channel for a while. Most of what you see is generally YouTube shorts of us and our crews out doing some basic exterior cleaning work, a couple little gardening tips, some farm and agricultural work that we do. But really quick, what I wanted to bring to you today was a question actually brought to me by my neighbor. And we do a lot of organic gardening with worm castings and bacterial supplements and a couple of other natural ways to feed plants. But my neighbor had just come to me and said to me that she didn't understand reading the back of her commercial fertilizer label and a couple of things that she wanted some clarity on. And kind of made me think here, I think the average gardener doesn't really quite understand at the end of the day the back of the label, if you will. So I'm not going to get into, certain brands or certain types of fertilizers or what makes them great. But our secondary company, our other company that we own is we do chemical manufacturing. We manufacture things like cleaners and surface cleaners, air cleaners, disinfectants, deodorizers, and we also do fertilizers and soil supplements. And a couple of things that I wanted to just touch base for the new gardener or the person who's out there just kind of throwing on the blue mixture, if you know what I'm talking about when it comes to fertilizers. A quick understanding of NPK or the breakdown of what a fertilizer has in it is probably very important for most people. When you go to the store and you buy the standard fertilizer that is readily available to everybody commercially, a lot of times it's very high in nitrogen, which is great as a plant starter, but it doesn't break down actually what happens after the plant begins to grow. So really quickly, just wanted to show you all here, NPK, what does it stand for? N is your nitrogen, P is phosphorus, and K is potassium. In our world, I actually call this stages 1, 2, and 3. And the reason why I do that is because a heavy nitrogen fertilizer, like you typically are gonna buy at the commercial available store, has a very high percentage. A lot of times it'll say like 20%, 3%, 8%. And then there's obviously other trace elements and minerals and other things included in those supplements. But to me, the reason why I say 1, 2, and 3 is because this healthy foliage, nitrogen is a great starter for plants. It gets plants going. It makes them green. It helps them produce, early onset leaves, the beginning of root development, etc. But if you continue to fertilize with a heavy nitrogen fertilizer throughout the life of the plant, a couple of things are going to happen. One, it's going to continue to put out foliage and not flower and fruit as well. But also, nitrogen is one of the most dangerous things to feed your plants because nitrogen burn is a way to kill plants. So if you continue to fertilize heavily or more too regularly with nitrogen-heavy supplements, you are going to run yourself into a situation where you have the chance of burning the leaves or doing damage to your plant. Stage 2, or phosphorus, if you will, as you see here, from zone9garden.com. This is just, from their website here to give them some credit. It says strong roots, which is absolutely correct. But phosphorus helps plants flower. So if you're growing, say, something like a tomato plant, you can get it big and bushy and green with a ton of nitrogen. But if you want a lot of fruiting flowers to start to pop, phosphorus is absolutely important at the right stage to get the fruiting flowers available to your plant. So if you want to grow a lot of tomatoes on your tomato plant and not just a lot of green leaves, for example, phosphorus is fantastic and an absolute necessity when it comes to timing of fruiting. So once your plant is bushy and it has a great leaf base and the stem is nice and thick, at that point, you'll begin to switch over from a heavy nitrogen fertilizer to a stronger phosphorus fertilizer. And at that point, you want to reduce and eliminate the amount of nitrogen you're giving your plant. And then potassium, your K here at the very end, or a lot of people know it as potash. It says healthy plants, which is, again, absolutely correct. But once you begin to fruit, and put a lot of flowers out and then get your tomatoes or peppers or whatever it is to start actually growing on your plant, phosphorus is where you get, again, all of the flowers. Potassium is where you get the size and the depth of the fruit. So when you're talking in the world of, say, giant pumpkins, those guys feed a ton of potassium to their plants because it allows for bigger fruits. So again, quick breakdown, quick way to grow your plant is your nitrogen, or step one. Once your plant is grown and you want flowers and a lot of fruit on that plant, then you go to the phosphorus side of things. Then once the fruits are on and taking hold, you want a lot of potassium, or a potassium heavy fertilizer, to get big, beautiful, luscious fruits, so you get more out of your plants at that point. One thing, though, that a lot of people forget about is one of the most important aspects of a fertilizer is, for most of your plants, is going to be a calcium-based fertilizer. You cannot and will not ever see calcium, though, included in your off-the-shelf standard NPK. And the reason for that is if you mix calcium into something with phosphorus, once it gets wet, it gels up. The two chemicals react in a way that it gets thick and it's no longer available for the plant to absorb. So you'll never see, like a 28, 10, and then calcium included. And if you do, I'd run fast, because it's either falsely advertised or it's a form of either phosphorus or calcium that your plant really can't even take in. It does no good for the soil. And I don't know if this will let me pull it up, but here's an example of, let me see if this will let me open it up. Here's one of the labels that, that we work with. And this you'll see here is a 700 with 10% calcium. So this is a product, NiCal, which is nitrogen and calcium, and this is a fantastic fertilizer for a starter. So again, you have the nitrogen, none of the phosphorus and the potassium that you'll need in the long term to continue to grow. But calcium is absolutely important in development of roots, stem strength, and if you're like a tomato grower, blossom end rot. One of the easiest ways to prevent blossom end rot is with calcium. So if you see a fertilizer like this on the shelf, this is a great starter. It's fantastic, but it has something that's absolutely essential for your plants, and that's calcium, which you're not going to get in your, again, 28, 10, or any other combination of numbers if there's a lot of phosphorus in the product. So again, this is just something I wanted to show you all really quickly. I don't want this to drag on too long. Fertilizer for beginners. I hope this helped out some of you. But again, flowers, all types of fruits, they're all going to have different requirements at different stages. This is literally just a general kind of rule when looking at fertilizers. You want to start strong with the nitrogen at the beginning of the plant. As the plant is developed and you want to start growing fruits on it, we want to go strong with the phosphorus side. And then once the fruits take hold, we want to go ahead and pound them with some potassium so they get good, big, and strong, fat, juicy fruits that we're looking to grow. But you don't want to miss out on something like calcium. Calcium, or lack of calcium in your soil or in your plant mixtures, can absolutely do damage to your crop. And the last thing you want is to have these big, luscious, beautiful green tomato plants putting out all of these flowers, and then every fruit has blossom end rot, and it gets gross and mushy and unable to be used, and then you're giving them to your neighbor's pigs or chickens to pick through. So again, just a quick little video for fertilizer for beginners. I hope this helped out some of you guys. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section. Feel free to communicate with us at any time. You can DM us or leave some communication information here for us, and we'll be happy to talk to anybody at any time. We never charge. We don't send out mailers or any type of solicitation. So please, if you ever see anything come from our company through a DM or on a different social media site, please always take with a grain of salt and communicate with us directly. So again, thank you for sticking it through. We're going to keep this under 10 minutes for you guys, but I hope you all finish this growing season as we're kind of wrapping up towards the end of summer here. I hope everybody's plants are growing well. I hope everybody's having a fantastic harvest this year. And for those of you who grow your giant fruits, I look forward to seeing you guys here in the next couple of months at some of these competitions and fairs. Thank you.